Hello everyone, welcome back. Today is July 7th and we're here with robot and nonsense stories to share with your friends.
Now, our first story we've talked about before, but we get more details here and how your healthcare will be further set on a automatic treadmill where no one ever actually pays attention to what's wrong with you.
OpenAI-powered app from Microsoft is coming to Epic Systems to help save doctors time. It's going to be just like when it's used for legal filings and it makes stuff up.
Could we just, train and hire more doctors
No.
so that they're not overworked?
So this will stop the doctor from reflecting on your case and actually thinking about it and shuffle them off to the next case while AI puts together all the... It's also going to record all your conversations with your doctor. That's safe, right?
That's going to have fun to have that leaked.
And OpenAI, previously, I think like 2 weeks ago, they were like, no, we're not going to compete with our clients. We're going to let them make the products and we're just going to make the baseline AI. That didn't last very long.
OpenAI plans ChatGPT personal assistant for work, setting up Microsoft Rivalry. Okay.
At least we didn't get the Barbie picture this time around.
Yeah, no silver Barbie. This time it's just a robot with a logo photoshopped onto it.
So yeah, they want to have this, do everything to help you work. And it's going to be built on their technology and it's not going to need the Bing AI. Which is kind of what Microsoft is exactly doing, isn't it? And ChatGPT, of course, the big limitation, it ends in 2021. What about modern stuff? What if I want to ask it things about Taylor Swift's most recent tour?
Oh, of course.
It's blind to that until now.
OpenAI's ChatGPT can now search the web, but only via Bing.
So basically, whoever has the best SEO, even if it's just bot content, it'll just regurgitate that.
That's going to make the spiral more rapid, right?
Yes.
Because now it's using a bad search engine to, the future.
And shitification.
Future is just terrible.
We've been spoiled for choice when it comes to information, like growing up in the information age, and now that's just going away.
And of course, Google in a distant third when it comes to the AI game, but they just keep promising that they're right around the corner with the next big thing.
Google DeepMind says that their algorithm will eclipse ChatGPT. How you know it's a lie is because there's not an academic paper like, the MapReduce algorithm that says this is how we're going to do this.
It's just a press release.
So rather than the predictive text only, they want to try to put DeepMind in there to kind of gamify what comes back. I don't really understand how that was going to work, but they say it's going to be really revolutionary.
We created 1,000 instances of ChatGPT, and DeepMind is tweaking each one to figure out which one is the best. I mean, it could work in theory, but I'm not sure there's enough GPUs on planet Earth.
And this is just sort of
this is putting into words my greatest fear.
And what we've been talking about this whole time,
Yeah.
the death spiral of AI. How soon can it come, and is it soon enough?
The AI is killing the old web, and the new web struggles to be born.
I would say it's more of a stillbirth.
Yeah, I don't...
It's very simple. With the technology for lowering the friction for human-to-human communication and making sure that the good parts of that are enduring, meaning that the content sticks around for a long time and is not ephemeral, has never been better. But at the same time, because the friction has been lowered so low, more crap can be generated than ever. And we like the tools for filtering the crap. We have the tools for generating the crap, but we don't have any tools for filtering out the crap, which is why people are frustrated with it. It's because you lose, like somebody lovingly put in this post which describes how to do something with your garden or how to troubleshoot something or whatever.
Or plumbing, yeah.
Yeah, and then the bots just come and steal parts of it and then post it badly somewhere else, and everyone suffers as a result.
Or just gets buried and never sees the light of day.
Yeah.
Now, if all this is very disappointing to you and you feel like the future is just too dark, I would say the American thing to do is just don't worry about it. Get out there and get some retail therapy. Just go consume.
Microsoft brings new AI-powered shopping tools to Bing and Edge.
This is the real reason the internet has started to die anyway, though, is because every corporation is trying desperately to get their products higher up in the search results. So that way you don't get the little guy posting about, here's something you can add to your garden. It's here's a post from Big Garden Center who's trying to get you to buy this plant that may be invasive to your zone, but who cares? Please just buy it.
Would you like a real Hardee's apple pie? You'll be as happy as I sound.
Ugh.
And I'm sure that this will not grant any extra weight to Microsoft products.
Definitely not. Why would you want an Apple laptop when you can get a Surface with Bing?
And this one's a little weird because, my God, the permissiveness of the Steam store. You want
This is the line in the sand for them.
you want an anime adult game about a certain National Socialist leader? They got like 6 of them, but this is too far.
Developer claims Steam is rejecting games with AI-generated artwork. Valve cites unclear legal status, copyrighted data in training data.
You kind of butchered the subheadline, but I get what you're going for. The reason they're not allowing this is because of copyright issues. They're like, they don't know if the people who upload these games actually have the rights to republish or publish the data or the art.
Theoretically, there's not an issue, but like everybody, Valve knows that Disney is going to ram something through that's going to be bad for us all.
Probably just easier to say, not right now.
Yeah.
And most of these games are probably poorly done.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, like the,
Cash grabs, yeah.
asset flipping. Now you don't have to asset flip. You just create your own assets, but you're not creating them.
Well, it's like the thing I think we did a story about this a while back where like Amazon, people were selling books on Amazon, but it was just AI generated crap and they were just flooding the market with it.
And then Gaben, having seen what has happened to Amazon,
Yeah.
it was probably right to protect his
Yeah.
platform from that.
What if you trained an AI to take something like NetHack and then generate a 3D environment with that?
Pretty sure somebody's done that. Somebody did that with Dwarf Fortress.
Oh, huh.
There's apparently a couple mods that people are working on right now for Skyrim where they change out the NPC dialogue to be AI generated.
Oh,
I
it's
haven't
incredible.
watched any videos of it. I heard it was good.
Yeah, it's incredible. There's I don't think you can get it yourself, but there was a playthrough of like one of the really old side quests where they replaced it, and it was just incredible. They had like time around the campfire, and it was.
I really like immersive mods like that. Like I always liked Frostfall and like realistic needs and
There's going to be a game that is even more revolutionary than, because when Half-Life, the original Half-Life came out, the AI then it was a
it would
different
take cover and like
it was a different experience. That's going to happen, and it's probably going to be from a smaller studio instead of
if they can exist in this environment, which is the sad thing.
Well, telemarketers are still a scourge upon our world. The way I like to deal with them is I like to engage them because I figure if I'm wasting their time, then I'm getting back at them for wasting mine. Although I guess I'm valuing my time as low as theirs, but there's a catharsis to it. But now I wouldn't even have to bother.
people hire phone bots to torture telemarketers.
I included this story just for you because I know how much you hate telemarketers.
AI software and voice cloners simulate distracted saps willing to stay on the phone forever or until callers finally give up. Should simulate a lonely old person for the darkest timeline version.
They was got 3 personalities.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is just like really confused. One of them asks a lot of questions. And I can't remember what the other one was, but they're all designed to just drag them out.
Yeah.
I take a different approach.
He's just mean.
I try to find the thing that they are most, like that hurts them the most, and go for that. On several occasions, I've definitely hit that nerve.
We call that being mean.
That's so much fun. There's no amount of meanness that is worse than trying to steal my money. Why would you have any sympathy for those
Because a lot of those people are also just trying to make money.
by stealing mine?
Well, they're not necessarily always stealing. They might just be selling magazine subscriptions
Oh, they're
or something.
always stealing. And we've learned the fate of the men who decided to let ChatGPT do their legal work.
2 U.S. lawyers fined for submitting fake court citations from ChatGPT. $7,500 or no, $5,000.
For a lawyer, that's like the cost of doing business, so they're just all going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a smack on the wrist. But they were very, very like apologetic, and I think
I'm sure that they're lawyers. They wrote a very nice statement.
But I think they've learned their lesson.
But
They
has
made
anyone
those.
else learned that lesson? Or are they just going to be like, eh?
In a way, I'd say some people have learned that, oh, we can do that. It just costs $5,000.
Yeah, exactly.
And
FTC versus Microsoft. It's like, that sounds good. This filing costs $5,000. Psh, sounds good.
some people some people, $5,000 is a life-changing amount of money to have to spend. Some people, they don't even notice it. They wouldn't even know it's gone. And those people get to go to space.
Virgin Galactic completes first commercial flight and major step for space tourism company.
I thought Virgin shut down. Am I imagining that? Did I manufacture
You're
that memory?
thinking of... was Branson Virgin Galactic?
Thought so.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they
I'm
did something.
confused. Yeah.
Well, maybe that was the space plane one. I don't know. Anyway,
Someone will tell us, I'm sure. I might be misremembering.
these are actually not super rich people. The Italian Air Force, for whatever reason, paid for some guys to go up here. So this was probably Italian taxpayer money.
Wow.
Also, the stock went down 10% after the successful flight.
That's strange.
What were they expecting?
Huh. Oh, yeah. I remember that I own stock in that. I need to sell it.
Maybe that, yeah. And NASA has their own special plane for this type of thing, or at least they did.
NASA has killed its electric plane's flight plan, citing safety concerns. It's the X-57, if you're keeping up with such things. It's like, we found some problems with the propulsion system, so let's not do it.
And the problem is it can stop and not provide propulsion.
Isn't it nice, though, when, someone finds an engineering issue and they just don't go?
It's nice, but it's not as nice when you realize that we paid for that. And lithium is certainly in big demand. We need more and more of it. In fact, we need an impossible amount of it if we're all going to be driving electric cars. So we're trying to get it any place we can. But it turns out this is basically the white balance for space.
NASA opposes lithium mining at Tabletop Flat and Nevada Desert site used to calibrate satellites. So underneath the lake bed, there's a bunch of lithium. But it turns out this is the flattest spot in North America, and this is the best spot to calibrate satellites.
So that means that they will absolutely mine it because they don't care.
It's a big fight, but it seems like the miners are winning.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing as like when we talk about keeping the skies dark and stuff like that. They don't care. It doesn't matter that it impedes issues with being able to see the night sky and research. Just keep throwing stuff up there.
Well, eventually when we run out of lithium, we will have to go into space for it. And where can we find it? Well, maybe we've got a new place that we should start looking.
Planet that shouldn't exist has been found. It's orbiting really close to its star, but its star should have vaporized it, and it hasn't. So it's a bit of a mystery.
Secret alien base? I think so.
I was imagining like the little fish that clings to the shark, but that's the planet.
Oh, the pilot fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
The sun doesn't eat it because it's like, oh, it's cleaning off my parasites.
but it would have to have moved,
Well,
so it's got propulsion.
yeah.
I don't
So
know.
it's aliens.
Maybe they just moved a bunch of water around.
Humans pump so much groundwater that Earth's axis has shifted, a study finds.
This was really interesting to me. I was like, there's no way. But they did some calculations about like, it's normal for the Earth's axis to shift periodically, but it had shifted in such a way like it was a little too extreme. And they're like, what's going on? What's accounting for that? And they did some math and they realized it was like the same amount based on the water. It's like, wow.
Just like the Three Gorges Dam slightly sped up Earth to the point we did have to do GPS corrections.
Yeah.
There was certainly no chance that that research could be goal-seeked and made to say something that's just not true in order to do something in government or business.
The WHO's Cancer Research Agency to say aspartame sweetener is a possible carcinogen, according to sources.
It tastes terrible, so I believe it.
Who could have guessed that this mad concoction that we've used to simulate sugar could be bad for us? Maybe the what it did to the rats. You ever read those studies?
Yeah.
Nothing good happened to those rats. And nothing good will happen to you if you mess around with mosquitoes.
First U.S. malaria cases diagnosed in decades in Florida and Texas. This isn't good.
Now, Florida's got the Bill Gates mosquitoes. How are they not protecting us?
It turns out mosquitoes breed like mosquitoes.
Do they evolve? What's going on?
Life finds a way.
It's answers from Gates. And this number seems a little too small
Yeah.
because this affects pretty much everybody, and it's horrific.
3M reaches a $10.3 billion settlement over contamination of water systems in a move that the company heralded as, "Oh, that's amazing. We thought it was going to be so much worse. We're glad that we're off the hook for only $10.3 billion."
That's so much value. We're getting so much value.
The cost of doing business.
These are the PFAs, not to be confused with PUFAs. It's different. PFAs are the forever chemicals, which once they're created by 3M, don't break back down into their constituent parts.
A broad class of chemicals used in non-stick, water, and grease-resistant products. We should just keep using cast iron skillets.
Steel. We could use steel. And we all know that the healthcare system here in America is broken and awful. And what are the alternatives? Well, we've got all these little private instant care pop-up clinics, which are also just, it makes you think
fabulous.
that you're living in a horrible future, which you are. But there's room for that to get worse.
Dr. Walmart will see you now. Oh, here's some topical cream for that terrible area on your skin. It's definitely not a tick bite eating into you.
I mean, I don't know how good the Walmart one will be, but like some of our local like Kroger's and stuff have this. They have a little tiny walk-in clinics. They're not the worst in the world. I actually had a tick bite a couple years ago and went to one and they're like, we're going to put you on antibiotics to make sure you don't have Lyme.
Well, that's for a tick bite, okay.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's not urgent. Like it's not something like if you're bleeding out, you need to go to the ER, but
I just can't see them not applying the Walmart formula to that. And it,
yeah. Oh, I'm sure it won't be great service, but they already have the eye care thing, and the eye care thing's pretty good.
You got some Walmart stock?
No.
And when it comes to leaving this planet, like if you've heard all of these things that we've said today and you're like, I'm kind of done. There are some ways to do that are probably more horrific than others. This one, it's definitely quick. But boy, does it leave a mess.
The headline says a Texas airport worker was sucked into an airplane's engine, has had their death ruled that it was a suicide.
Oh, you shouldn't say that.
But then you read the
And
details.
unalive.
Well, this is on NPR. Well, yeah, I don't
YouTube won't care.
know. Right. But you read the details, and that doesn't really add up.
I thought it did because this person was warned by like 2 or 3 other people. Like they were waving, like, no, don't go there. And there was some sort of warning lights that were on, that were supposed to be on.
I thought they were just really, like, there wasn't enough there for me to make up my mind and say yes.
Could this be like a texting situation?
This is like my worst nightmare. Like if you ever had to go across a tarmac when you're at an airport, like in the little cart, I'm like, what if I get sucked into an engine?
There's no danger of that because everything's turned off.
Right, but it's still spooky.
This, when it happens to the birds, we've seen what can come of it. So probably instant, but also leaves a lot of damage. Maybe they were disgruntled. It's like, hey, let me cost you a couple of $1 million.
Ugh, what if you were like a passenger on board? Like if there were people sitting on the plane waiting for it to take off and
Yeah, you gotta wait for like 6 hours.
Well, I was thinking just the sound.
They did say that the whole plane,
but
rocked.
it was only the pilot was on the plane.
Oh, okay. I mean, the pilot's probably gonna have some nightmares, but at least it's not a whole plane full of people.
Now, some people might argue that certain behaviors on a plane should result in you being cast into the engine.
Man uses airplane passenger as human urinal on flight to Miami.
Is this claymation?
I think it's 3D generated.
Yeah, it looks like a clay model.
It was an Emirates Air. There was a really insanely drunk passenger who went to the wrong row, and they couldn't do anything with him, so they just left him there. But then later he woke up and peed on a passenger.
The woman is now suing. She says she has PTSD. PTSD.
She actually doesn't care. She just really likes the pun.
And more important than that, although I admit that's a horrific thing to happen to you, I'd be upset too. But I'd be more upset about this.
Crew lassos and restrains South Korean teen for trying to open the plane door
Is
mid-flight.
this the second story we've had like this?
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
the
crazy.
other guy successfully did it.
Ugh.
Also from Korea, I think.
Oh.
Oh no, I've switched.
Uh-oh.
What was that? Oh yeah.
There we go.
And we also learned recently that Koreans have a wild way of calculating age. It's madness, but they're done with it.
South Koreans become younger under a new age counting law. You start from age 0 instead of 1 now. You don't start as 1 year old.
RIP Korean database administrators. Oof.
If you capture somebody's date of birth, then it'll be easy to recalculate it.
That's what changed.
No, the date of birth, not the age.
But the date of birth could have been 3 different things, right? Could be you're 1 when you're born. I can't remember what they all were.
Yes.
But it's just insane. They needed to consolidate it. I'm sure it'll be annoying for them. And this, like when alarms happen, there's probably a reason. Maybe don't just mute them and hope for the best. This is kind of like the check engine light, isn't it?
Yeah. Cleaner accidentally ruins decades of U.S. colleges research by turning off freezer.
I feel so like imagine being a grad student.
So this was a freezer that had 30 years of samples for all this biological research in it. And the freezer was undergoing maintenance. So there was a backup freezer freezing the freezer, but there was an alarm that says, hey, the freezer is operating outside of its normal operational zone, just FYI. And there was a sign on the door that said, hey, if the beeping bothers you, hit this button. The person did not read that sign or hit that button. They just turned the whole thing off, which allowed the backup freezer stuff to stop working, which then it was no longer frozen.
Ugh.
And some embarrassment from the Harvard Business School. Now we're getting straight from the horse's mouth here, the Harvard Crimson. They conveniently leave out that this lady was in charge of checking for fake papers. So that makes this extra delicious.
Harvard Business School professor Francesca Gino accused of committing data fraud in at least 4 papers. Yes. Mm-hmm.
She managed to miss her own papers, which seem to be completely fake the more they look into them. The whole research world is just, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. Absolute truth when it comes to research doesn't exist. We're in so much trouble. And you got to love Japan's approach to wokeness, which is just that they are not going to do it and they are going to continue to do what they've always done, which is the patriarchal society. They don't really care what you think about it.
Japan sends male minister to lead G7 meeting on women's empowerment.
Tone deaf. Look at him there.
How awkward is that?
Yeah. You think he got off the plane and then was like, oh, I've realized
Oops.
something is not.
Nah, they had to know before, right? I mean,
Some people just don't even think about optics. But I would think if you're like a politician, you would think about that more. But
when they had the cybersecurity guy who didn't use email.
yeah, he was like, yeah, I don't know anything about this. It's like, what? Why would you admit that?
Because they don't, in their world, it's not a big deal. It's like, no, that's just how things work. And we have to be considerate of people, like maybe, don't leer at them. But then you also have to be considerate of disabilities. And I don't know which one ranks higher on the woke hierarchy.
I was kicked out of the gym for staring at woman working out, but I'm blind. When he was 17 years old, Toby Addison was blasted a creep. But I tried to explain to the lady, I'm blind. I can't see. I'm completely blind. I have no vision. But she didn't believe him.
She thought she was just that juicy. She transcends vision. And we've learned that people will do just phenomenally stupid things at state parks. Yellowstone in particular, we had the person who loved on the bison, which had to be killed. We had the people who charged bears for some unknown reason. And now, maybe the worst one ever.
Video shows pair ignore warnings to touch 175-degree Yellowstone thermals. What could have ended up as another floating foot story.
That steam rolling off of it would be a big hint, wouldn't it?
There's signs all over Yellowstone. Like I've watched videos of like, here's all some of the cool sights you can see at Yellowstone. There's literally signs everywhere. It's like, do not get off the boardwalk. Do not get anywhere close to this. If you fall in, you will die. And look see how they've got like a fence there? That's crazy.
So this guy claimed that he tried to warn them and they just sort of like waved him off. Like, whatever, we're professionals here. And she did get her hand in there and yanked it back and said, wow, that's hot. She's not wrong.
She's an asshole.
Maury Povich, 84 years old.
Good Lord.
And still making money off of his wonderful career.
Maury Povich to launch an at-home paternity test fittingly called The Results Are In.
Is that just going to be made up? I bet it's just made up.
Some company just had the brilliant marketing idea and emailed him, and they were like, "Yes,
Oh,
this is going to happen."
it's the same company he used for the TV show.
Yeah,
So yeah, he looks pretty good for 84, doesn't he?
he does.
Look at him there.
Still moving around, still mobile, still doing all kinds of stuff.
Wonder how Connie's holding up. These, they gave the price for these ants. I can't remember how much it was, but it was
$2,000.
like,
Wow.
what ants are worth $2,000?
Apparently, these.
That makes no sense to me.
Kenyan couple arrested and charged for plotting to export ants to China and France. They plead, "Please, can we get this hurried along? You're killing the ants."
$2,000 ants? Why aren't we just breeding these and selling them?
Well, that's what they were probably trying to do by sending them to China and France, but they're not a native species to there, and it might cause really bad things to happen there if that species suddenly gets out.
So why does the person on the China end want it? What's it good for?
Pollination, maybe?
So many ant
Or
questions.
managing some invasive species that they think it'll kill? I don't know.
$2,000? Well, we learned about the whale that was in, was it like Switzerland or someplace? When it had the little band around it. And it was like, oh, that's the spy whale from Russia.
We know about him. Just leave him alone.
Well, it turns out he's not alone.
UK says that Russia is quote unquote likely training dolphins in Ukraine's occupied Crimean Peninsula to counter enemy divers.
This has been a repeated story about like training dolphins over the course of the war. And it's like, that's just so absurd to me. And yet it keeps coming up every few months.
How do
What?
dolphins know which diver is an enemy and which one's a friend?
Yeah. I mean, they're smart, but
They point out that their satellite photos show underwater cages. It's like a kennel for dolphins where they're using to train them, I guess. They also point out some historical, here's this guy.
yeah, that's the whale.
Historical situations where almost every government has tried to use aquatic animals for this kind of thing. U.S. Navy used sea lions in Bahrain in 2003 for Operation Enduring Freedom. What do you think they did?
They collapsed.
Was they like the lookout?
It was like a morale booster for the Navy.
Well, you know what would be a real morale booster if you were a bird? Lots of delicious, full cherries.
Pick your own event off as fruit eaten by birds.
Can confirm I've gotten one handful of blueberries this season.
So this place is a public land in Cornwall, and they have cherry trees. And last year they had so many cherries they didn't know what to do with them. And they said, you know what would be a good idea? Let's just let people come and pick them.
You
And
pick,
that'd be
yeah.
great. So they avoided picking them so they could set that up, and the blackbirds took the opportunity. They got every single one of them.
I haven't had any issues with birds attacking my strawberries yet. I do have a windmill in there, like to keep them out, but
A windmill.
or like a paper wheel or whatever.
Does the motion spook them?
Yeah.
I bet that doesn't work at all.
I haven't had any strawberries eaten by them. I had slugs eat a couple strawberries, but
Well,
most
you
of them
know,
were intact.
you know who could deal with those squirrels for you? This guy.
Oh,
Family is selling their wish-granting cat for $127,000.
he's just a round fluff, isn't he?
If you're thinking you'll get some answers by reading the story, you'd be mistaken.
Well, also October 7th, 2020. I don't know
Oops.
how this snuck in. I don't always check the dates.
I
But
had one that was like a month old, and I was like, was that too old? I feel better now.
she claimed whenever this happened that she had wished for a new apartment, a new car, and something else. And those three things happened. Then she made a fourth wish and it didn't work. So she was like, we've used our three wishes. Time to give it to somebody else.
I wonder why 127?
Because she's insane.
I guess, yeah.
And actually, Chris, I think we did this one before too.
We
Did we? Okay, it's like a month old. I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember.
We'll do it anyway.
Saving moss may be just as important as saving the bees.
Turns out they also pollinate.
Yep.
But they pollinate at night, so you can have both.
Yeah.
We have have had a huge number of moths here at the building that are enormous.
Do you think the flowers discriminate amongst themselves for those that were bee pollinated versus those that were moth pollinated.
Oh yeah, one flower making fun of the other flower. It's like, oh, moths prefer you. You
I think
lose.
apparently it's like yellow and white flowers are more common. Like moths like those better.
Oh, now I got to bring race into it.
Well, because of the like I guess the moon and stars and stuff reflect better off of that. So like darker flowers, like purple ones, don't get pollinated at night.
Get out of here, mothy. And it's just the madness that the fashion world gets into. I don't know what's wrong with these people.
Microscopic Louis Vuitton bag sells for more than $60,000. Although this is not, it didn't seem like this was officially affiliated with Louis Vuitton. So why didn't they send a cease and desist?
Krista, what is MSCHF? Is that supposed to be mischief?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Anyway,
Mischief, is that the name of the brand? Maybe it's like a sub brand.
oh, we're paywalled.
This is like a marketing stunt.
It was created for Pharrell Williams. Maybe he's connected to Louis Vuitton, but
He's some sort of director of style or whatever. I don't think he actually does anything. But there is if you check out the one tab, there's a zoomed in version of this where it actually has the little Louis Vuitton logo on it. Like it's so well printed.
We're entering the era of molecular machinery assembly, finally.
You know,
and it's making Louis Vuitton bags.
this would be great for those illegal ants.
Oh yeah, status symbol.
I don't know if it's actually
New money.
a working bag, though. I don't think it opens and closes. And after what Canada has done to us for the past couple of months, I think this is well deserved.
Cheerios discontinues quote unquote the best cereal flavor, and fans are not cheering.
Pretty sure that's honey nut, but okay.
What flavor is it? Maple Cheerios.
I've never had maple.
Me
I've never
either.
even seen that at our stores.
Now you never will.
I know.
It's like Twinkies. Get a few boxes, sell them on eBay for $20,000 a box.
I worked in a grocery store during the Great Twinkie Purge, and people lost their minds. Like we had people come in and buy like half the stock.
And well, you know what? It's not Tuesday for them, is it?
No.
You've missed
Friday for them.
Tuesday. Tuesday was a
Fajita
beautiful
Friday.
Tuesday was a beautiful 4th of July holiday. Maybe you made some tacos on the grill while you were shooting off your fireworks. But it's important that you not call it Taco Tuesday.
Taco John's response to Taco Bell's Taco Tuesday lawsuit, because Taco John owns the copyright to Taco Tuesday. Or I'm sorry, trademark. They own the trademark for Taco Tuesday.
Taco Bell wants it to be open so everybody can enjoy it. In other words, they really want to use that in their advertising. They're not allowed to because it's trademarked.
That's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous that it's trademarked.
Yeah.
It's also ridiculous that Taco Bell is making an argument that they wouldn't have trademarked it
Yeah.
if they had the chance. What about Fajita Friday?
That's what Fajita Friday. What's a M food for Monday? I guess Mexican Monday.
And Burger King, it seems like these Twitter account managers are just grasping at straws at this point. Anything they can do to get a headline. And it worked. CNET did it, and then we bid on it as well.
Tesla autopilot bug inspires Burger King to run an ad giving away free Whoppers. Look, it thinks the sign is a Burger King burger.
But that had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
So they said, pull up with your smart car. What counts as that?
Probably almost any modern car because they all have computers in them.
And then you take a picture and you tweet that with the hashtag, and then they'll DM you a free Whopper code. I have a feeling they would have just given that to anybody, right?
Yeah. This is marketing BS.
Yeah. This is literally just tweet at us and we'll give you a code.
Some agency is writing this up on their website talking about how smart and clever and look at the return on investment we made.
It's like, I built the damn API for this. What the hell?
Yeah.
And just be assured that when we show you these kinds of links, when we share these with you, it's not that we're saying, look how cool this is. We're saying, look what we've become.
Look at the nonsense this is.
If anything, this is Exhibit A on why the intergalactic highway should go right here and nowhere else.
Now, I've heard, and I think this is misinformation, but some people will claim that the pizza was not an Italian invention. It was actually invented in America.
An Italian-American invention.
You've heard that as well?
Yes.
But I don't think it's true, is it?
I don't know.
I'm not sure if it's true either. But then, I don't know. That may call all this into question.
Exactly. This could ruin all of those fact checkers.
Fresco of possible pizza ancestor, quote unquote, from ancient Pompeii found at dig site. Although they didn't have mozzarella, which is what that looks like. They didn't like. It's just.
It's the Little Caesars guy.
Bro, that's a pizza.
That looks like a pizza.
I mean, what else are you gonna call that?
Yeah.
I don't know what all this stuff is over here though.
Maybe some garlic, some garum. Throw some fish paste on there.
If I sit down at this table, that's the first thing I'm going for.
Yeah.
Although they didn't cut it. You know what? They didn't have the slicer.
But they also didn't have mozzarella. I mean, that seems like that's obviously mozzarella, but that mozzarella was not a thing here at this point.
What about a white pizza? Doesn't have mozzarella on it.
Oh yeah, but
pesto,
I mean,
yeah.
what is the white thing?
I think that's like a mushroom or something.
Yeah, like mushrooms or garlic.
A
Or...
cheeseless pizza. Maybe they were lactose intolerant.
Oh, it's a pizza for you, Wendell.
You could have ancient pizza. Ancient grains.
I do like the vegetable tikka sauce on roti. It's nice.
Anyway, it's Friday, so go get yourself a pizza. Get yourself an ancient pizza.
Fun times.
Store.level1text.com. There's no pizza. There's no pizzas there. Anyway, we'll see you guys later. Bye.